Hey guys, and welcome back to ABZû. The diver's journey continues once this loan screen's finished swiveling a triangle at me. What's going? Why a triangle exactly? Am I being too nitpicky? It is only the start of the episode after all.
The triangle is important.
Okay.
In a way. You'll understand very soon. I think it's this part. Pretty sure it's this part. You'll understand the triangle.
Okie doke. Oh, everything went all orangey all of a sudden.
Yes. If there's one thing I really love about ABZû is its use of colour.
Oh, definitely.
Because each area does feel very different because you've got the sort of bluey green of the first area.
Oh.
You then go into that bluey pinky area. This is very orange and golden, and it's just gorgeous.
What is it about ruins that are aesthetically pleasing? It's not just the visual aspect, it's like the history and the knowledge that comes with them that I find attractive.
I know, I think it's because they seem so mysterious, and because they have that history rooted in them that even when they look dilapidated, there's something like truly magical about it.
Yeah. Nice. That's one for the Facebook. Oh, there's a sunfish over there.
Yes.
I think that's what Alola Mola in Pokemon is based on. Don't quote me on that.
I believe you're probably right, although I'm pretty sure that the Pokemon is Aloma Mola.
Yeah, whatever. I always get that wrong. That was my favourite type of shark back there, by the way, the hammerhead.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
Do you have a favourite shark, Richie?
Let's just say probably the Great White.
Oh, that's just a bit boring, really.
I know it's a bit boring, but it makes perfect sense for this game, so I'm just going to say it's the game's fault.
Fine. You could have said tiger, you could have said, like, whale, shark. It's fine. God, it's not even orange at this point, it's more like gold.
I know, it's just gorgeous. There's so much about it, and also, obviously we were talking about ruins, and actually it's kind of important to ABZû as a whole, obviously, because the game's title stems from Sumerian mythology.
Ooh.
And that being the religion practiced and adhered to by the people of Sumer, which were the first literate civilization of ancient Mesopotamia. And basically it particularly relates to the myth of the ocean goddess Tiamat and the freshwater god ABZû uniting to form all life. And ABZû is a name, so you've got the Ab bit, which means water, and Zu, which means to know. So the developers translated that as being ocean of wisdom. However, you could also translate it as water of knowledge or to know water.
You say zoo means, like, to know or whatever. Is that the root of our Western word zoo? Because we place animals in, such a thing as to study them and learn about them.
I'm not 100% sure, actually, but that would certainly make sense, other than the fact of it's ancient Mesopotamia, so probably not, because a lot of our words come from Latin. But they probably had potentially a similar root language that created that. I don't know. Language is weird.
I do love the big chain aesthetic. I noticed we got two buddies now. Is that significant at all?
No, basically around each of the areas there are a few buddies that you can find, and they will help you break through barriers and all that jazz.
Okay.
So you need at least one to get you through everything, but just explore. I mean, that is sort of the whole point of ABZû, is to explore these little miniature ecosystems and enjoy them.
I noticed one of the statues back there was actually a hammerhead shark. human hybrid. Am I gleaning any details of the plot right now, or am I completely on the wrong track?
You kinda completely-ish on the wrong track.
Okay, cool. As long as everyone knows that I'm dumb, that's the main thing.
I mean, so the sharks are very important, as you can tell by there's all these statues of sharks. But shark people, less so.
Is this a timed puzzle? It seems like it would be timed.
No, none of the game is timed.
Huh.
You just get to... Well, the only bits that are timed, so to speak, are the bits where you're in the jet stream. And that's just because the game's constantly pushing you forward. So you've only got so long in them because the game's just going to shove you out of it. By the time you reach the end, it's just going to push you towards the end. So that just makes sense entirely.
This is my statue, bugger off.
So, since we are continuing to explore, there would be a shell around here, but I've already picked it up. The aim for ABZÜ from an early stage was not to simulate diving, but instead to capture the dreamlike feeling of ocean exploration. So, as part of his research, Nava experimented with other ocean simulation games and found that they weren't fun to him. So, by removing any time limit or air gauge, the team sought to promote a relaxing sense of exploration. One of the main issues that they found was by giving the player complete freedom to swim around, including doing a full loop. The effect was normally held back due to camera difficulties, but they did manage to resolve that issue and allow for a greater range of movement, which so glad they did. The meditation mechanic was added during later development, from 2015 to 2016, as a means of allowing players a view of the surrounding marine life and environment. Ultimately, they ended up choosing Unreal Engine 4 for the development platform. Explains why there's so many particles.
Yep.
Basically because even though it was quite new at the time, it was easy to use and was able to create Matt Nava's vision. And it allowed them to expand the engine's functionality. Well, they were able to use the advanced developer tools to expand the engine's functionality to incorporate unique elements such as fish shoal behaviour, vegetation animation, and underwater lighting. And that's just quite cool. You also had the fact that the artistic style was meant to portray a vibrant underwater world, but also they needed to prevent activity on screen from overwhelming the player. So they went for this more stylised look to kind of maintain the game's artistic style and reduce the amount of visual noise. So even though there's a lot going on, you can always focus on what you need to do.
Yeah, it's not vague, as it were.
Yeah, so much of the early development was dedicated to creating editing tools that could do small-scale edits to environments after they'd been locked down, so they were able to see the entire thing and then go, right, that bit's not right, let's change that bit. When creating the environment, Nava drew on experience from developing Flower for that game company, creating sporadically scattered interaction points that triggered with player exploration and triggered new life or new elements within each environment. And since there was no dedicated animator, the team needed to use multiple techniques for animation with the fish, the diver, and the flexible vegetation. So they have all different things. So the diver uses a skeletal animation run, vegetation uses rope physics, and the fish mainly use mathematical motion in combination with morph target posing.
Oh my god, the fish will kill us all!
Yeah, so they didn't really need to worry about much, but also every type of fish seen in ABZÜ is based on a real-life counterpart from the oceans of Earth. But obviously to fit them into the game, each species was distilled down to its most distinctive traits, and they had tens of thousands of fish within the game, with the swimming styles directly modelled on the behaviour and physics of real fish movements. The sheer number of fish initially did present quite a problem, but the staff developed a method of simplifying each fish's animation without compromising the game's visuals, and that ultimately multiplied the number of fish possible on screens by 10.
Huh.
And then they gave each fish artificial intelligence, and they were able to get them to swarm, and all sorts, and it's just really quite cool. But this area is quite important, because we're getting to see a bit of the history of the divers people.
Okay. Yeah, not really following so far. I mean, I know what the giant triangle is. It's a gate, but a gate of what exactly?
Yes, things will begin to make a bit more sense as we make our way through to the end of this part. And also, definitely swim up here to this little bit here, because up here we can find a blue tang and a clownfish.
Oh.
It's Marlin and Dory!
Nice. They do the same thing in Animal Crossing New Leaf, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. Like, the blue tang and the clownfish go in the same tank.
Yeah, it is just quite cute, and I love that it's just a tiny reference that you might not even know is there, but it is just such a delight.
Oh, there's a moray eel.
Yes. Now, really what I should have done here is turn on the lights before I meditated, but you know what? Let's have a little bit of darkness meditating.
Yeah, these guys seem to, like, absolutely worship the sharks, and, you know, more power to them. The sharks are pretty big in the ocean spectrum of predators.
Exactly. So the shark is very important to the culture of the diver. And there's a lot, obviously, has been going on with the diver and its people. I mean, what you perhaps would have been able to glimpse from those drawings is the fact of the divers people were able to give life with their water. So they were given jugs, and in pouring them they were able to bring life to the ocean.
That bit I didn't catch. I thought they were just trying to take water from one place and put it in another.
Well, what I think the game begins to suggest is that they started becoming more technologically advanced and started trying to do new things with the water. And what happened from there, we're not quite sure. But proper blue whaling now.
Nice. Looks very polygonal.
He is a little bit, but he fits in with the art style, which is just quite beautiful.
I heard that, you little bitch. Oh!
It's funny you should say that, Tom.
This is what's known as a pod, I believe.
Yes.
I know my marine life facts. Well, sometimes. Oh, yep, this is how they eat. They eat a lot, do blue whales.
They do indeed.
That's a humpback whale, I believe.
I believe so.
I like marine life, okay? Not as much as dinosaurs, but, you know. What? Oh! Tricksy camera, don't you wink at me. Are you gonna do anything, or is this just for the visual delight?
It's just for the visual delight.
Okay, that pulled out, and I thought the whole background was a giant whale.
That would have been quite cool, but no. The whales are just joining us on our descent through the ocean.
Oh yeah, because whales can dive super deep, and they don't need to come up for a while.
Exactly. But now, things have gotten a bit darker. And there are these pyramids all over the place.
Ah, 3 triangles, and you did say the triangle was important.
Exactly. And you probably saw designs of those triangles in that little temple ruin. And now we finally get to know what those triangles and pyramids ultimately are. And let's just say they're not good.
Yeah, it's interesting because we met the, antagonistic force, I should say, of Journey in a similar location.
We did indeed, yes. This furthers the whole thing that I say with there are far too many similarities to Journey that I would say hamper ABZÜ. I would have much preferred it if it tried to go its own path in terms of the narrative it was telling. But ultimately, everything I see with ABZÜ makes me go, oh, they did that with Journey. Oh, they did that with Journey.
So is it possible to die in this game if you, get too close to these things?
It's not possible to die, very much the same as Journey. You can't die. However, you can certainly get hurt.
Huh.
As you are going to see at some point, I'm just trying to masterfully dodge right now.
Okay. Okay, so you turn them off.
Yes.
This is super advanced for a culture whose, biggest advancement is, water, it seems.
Just wait.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say.
It's really eerie now that they're not moving around.
I know, it's... This area of ABZÜ, when I get to, I'm always just like, no, I don't like it. Can I just get out, please? And,
oh!
Yeah. That's what they do.
God damn. That's very funny looking electricity.
I know, but it hurts, so, let's not do that again if we can help it.
No, I didn't mean that in a bad way. Is it just a stylistic choice in terms of art?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It will be. Pretty much everything in this is stylistic choice.
Okay. Well, the door's open and the shark's gone through. Is that the same shark from the beginning of the game?
Is it? I'm not sure. It probably is, to be fair.
Richie. All these playthroughs, all these warnings, and you still haven't worked on your subtlety at all.
As if I'm ever going to work on that, Tom. Really?
You are a busy lad, to be fair. Oh, yep, time to swim fast, I think.
Definitely time to swim fast. Annoyingly, with your flippers, unless you get the timing just right, you are constantly going to get slightly stuck.
Oh, Sharky.
I know. Poor thing.
Sharks are dumb.
Sharks are not dumb.
No, I mean they just look dumb.
Yeah, they can do. I mean, there's a couple of sharks where you look at them and you just go, you're ridiculous.
Were you God's joke?
I mean, to be fair, there are some creatures out there where really, like, what was God thinking?
Yeah, I ask myself that every time I look in the mirror.
Yes.
Not supposed to agree with that. I'm sad now.
Well, Tom, you set it up yourself.
True. Oh, it looks like we have another area to restore, Mr. Ritchie.
Not quite yet. We've got a little bit of further exploration to do,
Okay.
in which you may or may not find what you were looking for earlier.
I saw it. Giant squid, motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like, that's pretty big. I don't know if I'd call it giant. Okay, yeah, it's giant. Scale was fucking with me. Nobody suspects a thing.
I'm pretty sure you get a trophy for riding the giant squid. Obviously, because, like, seriously, why would you not?
Yeah, oh my god, it's like glowing. It's like a shiny version.
It's like it's ready to be in Splatoon.
Basically. Have you played Splatoon 2 yet?
I have, yes.
How's the story compared to the first game?
So... it's probably about on par. I would say that it's slightly more interesting because it gives you a whole get different weapons for each level.
Okay.
So to speak. So you get to experience the hero shot, the dualies, the buckets, the brush, the roller, and all sorts. So you get to have a play with those and see how they all work. So I would say it's definitely a better tutorial for the multiplayer than the original Splatoon story was. And I would say that I probably had a bit more fun with it.
Okay. Like, right off the bat, I like the fact that you are, like, it's mandatory to use different weapons. That just spices it up a little bit.
Yeah, and there's much greater replay value because once you've played it with one weapon, you can choose to play it with the others. So you've got that whole replay value because you can retry it and give yourself more of a challenge or less of a challenge depending on the weapon you choose to use in that situation.
Right.
The one thing I would say though is that I would say the final boss of the first game is a bit more hype.
Mm-hmm.
It's still quite a hype final boss, but I don't know, it's just not quite as ridiculous and hype as the first one.
Okay. I'm waiting on an answer on these shrines, by the way.
Well, so you should have seen a picture of these shrines in that ruin that we were in.
I did, yeah.
Showing that it's something relating to that ancient civilization. But we still know very little about what they are anyway. But the game is about to give us some answers.
Ooh,
relatively
nice.
soon.
Ah, the giant squid fountain.
Tom, I've got a very important question for you.
Okay, shoot.
Are you a kid or are you a squid?
I'm actually neither. Also, how the fuck is water rising when we're underwater already?
Honestly, I do not know, but I am totally down with it.
It's a second tier of water. I ain't gonna explain shit.
Well, just think Mario Galaxy and some of the areas where you had the little gaps of air between two layers of water.
True. But that was gravity. This is very clearly something else.
Yeah, but also that substance could be something that's not actually water.
Yeah, true.
Because obviously with liquids they all have different densities. So, for example, with water and oil they don't mix. So oil will always sit on top, I think, of water.
Oh my.
I think. But yes, you end up with different densities of things, so other substances are denser than water and so they will sink to the bottom and you'll get that split there. We're about to go into the belly of the beast. I told you we're going to get some answers relatively soon.
That's pretty fucking cool, visual design wise.
And the thing that I do really love is that we've gone from lovely blues and golds to this rather terrifying red. And the beautiful nature has been replaced by destroyed machinery, and this entire chapter is just really, really dark.
It's like we're playing Aliens or something.
I know. So just there we passed the machine that is creating our little camera companions. And here you can see the construction line for those pyramids.
really see the use of these things in terms of construction and whatnot. They just mostly seem to be guarding stuff.
I think that was the initial thought process, but here we have the blueprints for the cameras, for the pyramids. And this right here suggests that the diver is not exactly what we thought it to be.
Huh.
So what I believe you're meant to take away from this is that the diver is actually not an organic life form.
Probably could have told you that from the start of the game, I'm going to be perfectly honest.
Well, yes, but obviously you go through that. Well, I mean, you got this bit which is just like,
whoa.
Oh, this is terrifying. There's just too many of these. When I first saw it, I was just like, oh my god. You can get through this without ramming into any of the things, but it is a bit of a challenge. But yes, obviously, when you go through that shrine area, the ruins, you see the drawings of creatures that look very much like the diver. And ultimately what I believe you're meant to take away from that is that they created this to try and protect the ocean.
Okay.
And the diver was kind of the pinnacle of everything they created, with the purpose of it being able to bring life, but ultimately their technology destroyed them.
Hubris and all that.
Yeah. And this right here is the core. And that is the end of that.
Well, at least Sharky repaid us in the end.
Definitely. And hopefully things will get better from here.